Welcome to Freelance Discussions. Today I'm going to be talking about the status of the Northern Pintail. Numbers have dropped dramatically over the last 40 years, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit greater detail so we can kind of find out what's been going on. But before that, my name is Elliot and this is Freelance Duck Hunting. I'm going to be videoing every single one of our 25 duck hunts this fall. So if you would like to come along with us and see what we do, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, I have a new website that has just come out. It's called Freelance Hunt Stats. It's a place where you can log all of the data of your hunts and then calculate all that information into your statistics. You can see how many birds you've shot, how many birds you've shot at each location that you hunt, your shooting percentage, all sorts of cool stuff over there. So I'm gonna put a link here and also down in the description. You might wanna go over and check that out. There's actually a whole portion of that that's completely free. So if that's something that you're interested in, go over and take a look at that. So let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this discussion, and it's the Northern Pintail. I put out a video a few weeks back that talked about the 2017 waterfowl population survey, which is looking really good this year. I'll put those numbers up again here, and if you're interested in that video, I'll also put a link up that you can go back and see the numbers. But the numbers are looking really good again this year, like they have over the past few years. There's several species of ducks that aren't doing very well, and the Northern Pintail is one of them. I had a lot of conversation in the comment section of that video about pintail, why that their population wasn't responding like all the other species of ducks. So now, based on the waterfowl survey, the pintails actually did increase in population from last year to this year. They raised about 10%, so they are actually moving in the right direction, but they're still significantly below the target at what they want their population at. In 2016, there was 2.61 million pintails, and now in 2017, 2.89 million pintails. So we are seeing that they are increasing, but it's a very slow rate. So what's going on with the pintail? Why are all these other ducks populations exploding and the pintails are not? So I decided I want to do a little searching online and kind of have a better idea of what's going on with the pintail. So I spent this morning reading articles, and I found a really good article from Ducks Unlimited, and I will link that in the description. So if you want to see the whole thing, it's a really interesting read. I'm just going to hit some of the main points from that article, and then we can have a conversation about it. I don't know about you guys, but the pintail is one of my absolute favorite ducks, and I only shoot one or two a year. We're going to shoot them here in my state either in October on the way down south or in late January as they're coming back up, as the ice is coming off the marshes. But they're just a wonderful, magnificent bird, and it would be so much fun if there was a lot more of them, because I certainly would love to harvest more than one or two a year, and I would love to see a lot more than I'm seeing. Where pintails nest seems to be one reason why their populations are not rebounding. Most other ducks go back to the same breeding grounds every single year, and it's in the area where they're born, and annually they go back to the exact same place and they nest. But the pintail nesting habits are a little bit different. They're more nomadic breeders, so they will actually look for the best environments to breed, and that's where they'll put their nest. So normally most of them breed in what's called the prairie pothole regions, but on years that the prairie pothole regions are drier, the pintails will go ahead and overfly it, go up north into the boreal forest of Alaska and northern Canada, and even above that, and they'll breed up there. Now on those drier years, when they have to go that much farther to find good place to nest, their breeding populations are always lower than just sticking it out in the pothole region like most ducks do. So that's one reason they're saying that possibly the populations are lower. But it seems like the main reason it goes beyond that to their nesting habitat. Most other ducks are very careful about where they make their nests, like your mallards and your teal, and they will actually look for hidden spots in deep, heavy grasses to put their nests, where pintails are not near as selective about the actual physical spot they put their nest, even oftentimes building their nest right in crop fields. So they get a lot more predation because they don't have a hidden nest. Also, just farmers kill a lot of the nest because pintails will build their nest in crop fields early on, I think April or March, and farmers sometimes haven't even seeded and done their planting at that time, so they'll come through and destroy a lot of nests just in their agricultural practices. And after reading the article, it seems to me that that's probably the number one problem with the pintail, is they're just not selective enough about where they're building their nest. They'll just kind of build them anywhere. And now, like I said, they're nomadic, so they're selective about the general area that they nest in, but they're not selective about the specific spot. So I think that's probably the number one reason that the pintail populations are having problems. They did also mention a couple of other things. Now, their main food source in the winter is typically down in Texas and Louisiana, where they're eating rice. And in those areas, they have seen about a 50% decline in rice acreage since 1970s. So in 1970, you had about 6 million pintail, and now in 2017, there's only about 3 million. So we have lost about half of the population of pintail over the past 40 years. So in review, they're nomadic to where they actually nest, and sometimes they have to travel much farther north than other ducks to nest, and when they do that, they produce less chicks. When they actually do build a nest, they're not careful enough about where they're building them. They don't put them in deep, thick grasses. A lot of times even in crop fields where predators can get at them more, and agricultural practices in themselves will destroy the nest. And then in Louisiana and Texas, we've lost 50% of the rice fields, which is most of what pintails will eat as they go south. Now, things, like I said, are looking they're looking up, they're looking better. We are making progress, so we gained that 10% over this year, so things are going in the right way. And in that article from Ducks Unlimited that I've been referencing, they do have a whole section where they get really, really specific about what they're targeting and how they're trying to improve conditions for the pintail, so we can see those numbers grow again, because we certainly don't want them to decline so far that we can't even. I remember when I was just starting hunting, you were not even allowed to kill canvasbacks at all. You couldn't even take one, and now you can take. So we certainly don't want to see pintail get to the point where we're not hardly seeing them and we're not able to harvest them, because they are just an amazing bird. So that's my thoughts on it. If you guys have other information on this, I kind of want to do this same type of video on the black duck and the scaup, because I know people have referenced those birds as well. So I may just make this a 3-part series where I do the pintail, the scaup, the black duck. But I found this really, really interesting. Let me know what you think below. And again, don't forget that stat site. It's Freelance Hunt Stats. Just go over and check it out. I've been coming out with some tutorial videos about how to navigate that site. And so go check that out and see what we've got going on over there. I know that keeping my statistics really upgrades the amount of enjoyment I get out of hunting. So thank you for joining me today, and if you could be looking for videos in the future, I hope that you guys are doing well.